Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Stallion University, right? And for today's lesson, I'm going to tell you guys how you can be better at the job you guys are working. Now look, working is a big part of life, okay? If you are working, you should always try to, be better at your job, always, right? Because if you're better at your job, that makes your employer happy, that makes you happy, because then you're making them more money. And what can be better than making somebody else more money? That's like the best thing in the world. So the deal is with this, right? I'm gonna give you guys tips and tricks on how you can be the best employee possible. All right. And now mind you, these are all pretty simple stuff, no big deal. I'm gonna write them out for you, okay? And you guys just try to follow along. Okay, don't be worried about it. It's gonna be some simple steps, okay? Okay. So number one on how to be a good employee, okay? Never be on time. Now, what I mean by this is it's deeper than what you guys think. What I mean by this is don't show up on time to your job. You want to know why? Because your job, honestly, is not more important than your own actual health and well-being. If you don't want to show up to your job on time, then don't. You want to know why? Because jobs pay you for the time that you're working. And what does your job love more than to not have to pay you if they don't want to? So why are jobs so angry if you don't show up on time and if you're late? If you're late, they don't have to pay you extra amounts of money. So why on earth would you be on time for your job if you don't want to go? All right. So that's the first one, okay? Because that will make you a better employee by honestly saving your company more money by not showing up. All right. Rule number 2, and this one's really big. Okay. Never, I'll write it out and I'll tell you about it. Okay. Rule number 2 is going to be this: never ever take your lunch break. I'm trying to write it out for you, but basically number 2 is never take your lunch break within that 2-hour mark that you guys actually clock in. Do not let your employer, your manager, tell you to go on your lunch break earlier than 5 hours into your shift if you have an 8-hour shift. If you have an 8-hour shift, you should be taking your lunch break in like 5 hours in. And everybody knows why we do it, okay? You take your lunch break 5 hours in because you want your lunch break as close as possible to when you actually get off of work, right? Because there's nothing worse than clocking in, right? Getting on your lunch break, and then when you get off, you're like, oh, I still have 5 hours of just straight work to do. It's the most soul-crushing thing in the world, right? And you want to know how it's going to make you a better employee? Because by the time you're done with your lunch and you come back, you're going to be so happy that you're heading out soon. You actually might be happy about what you're doing with your job, okay? Now this one, at this point, the writing's going to take a bit of time. So I'm just going to expedite this. Okay, so rule number 3 on how you can be a better employee for your jobs and for your workers, right? I'm just going to do this. This is a $, right? And then what I mean by that is always ask for a raise. Always. Even when they seem like they're annoyed with you, ask more. Ask twice as much if they seem like they're annoyed with you. You want to know why? Because you deserve more money in general. You want to know why? Think about this. A job wants you to work for them as long as they possibly can. They want to use all of your actual hard work and labor, right? And utilize every single part of you and pay you the absolute bare minimum. And if they can legally pay you less than that, they would. So what's the point of you asking for a raise and being worried about it? Don't be. Ask for that raise. If you can find a way to get their contact information, bother them, text them, email them. Hey, can I get paid more money? And if they say no, leave. I think that's a good one. And again, this is going to make you a better employee because if they choose not to pay you, you can leave and they can find somebody they might be able to pay less. Who knows? It might work for both parties. Right, okay. Now this one's fun. This one's number 4. This one's my favorite one. Okay, so you guys will really enjoy this one. Number 4 on how you can be a better employee. Right here, think about this. Okay, I'm gonna follow an acronym here. Right, it's gonna be TCIW. TCIW. You want to know what that spells out? The customer is wrong. I know they say the customer's always right. Come here. The customers are liars. Every customer that you have will lie to you as fast as they possibly can to get the most out of whatever service that you provide. For example, if you work in food, a customer is going to be lying to you about 95% of the time. If they said, hey, you messed up my order, you didn't mess up their order. You didn't. You never did. You never have. Right? Well, no, it's funny. You got them exactly what they wanted. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, you know what? I think I want this food for free. Or I think I want my money back. So I'm going to go and then lie completely. And then if you don't entertain the lie, they're going to call your manager over. All of a sudden the manager's just going to blame on you. They're going to blame you. Want to know why? Because it's in the manager's best interest if you seem like the incompetent employee and they seem like the best manager in the world. So instead of just having all that happen, when a customer comes up and says, you messed up my order, just say, no, I didn't, and get out. Now, when I was at my last job, I worked at a pizza place, customers would always try to get free food and a refund. Come here. I would rather go into the pits of hell itself, right, and have to basket weave myself out of there than give you a refund or even I wouldn't get you a refund. I wouldn't get you more food. I would just tell you, try not to suck next time. That's what I would say. So, that's kind of it for me. That's my favorite rule because the customer is quite literally always wrong. If a customer could, right, they would take the food out of your mouth and the money out of your pockets if it makes their day better. So no, the customer is not your friend. Customers are always your enemy. That's the one thing I'd probably say about that one. Okay, so the next one I would say of how you can be a better employee. All right, this one again, my favorite one. I love this one very much. It's gonna be 5. Now we have about 6. We have 6 in total. We're on number 5. I promise you we're almost done. If you guys want more, I'll give you more. Hold on. Sorry, my thing's just it's not working. So at this point, I'll just give you guys. I'll just freestyle it here. Here's my pen. We're just gonna pretend like there's words up here. I don't know how to edit because I'm an 80-year-old man trapped in a 25-year-old body that feels like he's 90. So we're gonna pretend like there's words up here for number 5. Okay, number 5. This one is honestly the most important one. Okay, number 5 is you are always valid in your opinions. Now, what I mean by that is this. If you say, my job sucks, your job sucks. It just does, right? If you've been working your job for over a year and the only thing in your mind is, I don't want to go to my job when you have a day off, the job's not fun. It's not for you. Go ahead and get on out of there, right? And this is my last one. My last one is this. This one's not even less than, this is more of a rant. A 2-week notice is the most bizarre, hilarious thing I've ever heard in my life. Wanna know why? A 2-week notice is a joke to me because think about this. Your employer can fire you at any point in time, whenever they want to, whenever they see fit, they'll just fire. They can let you go whenever. They can let you go the minute they hire you. But you, as an employee, getting underpaid, getting mistreated, getting misused, right, getting accused of things you probably haven't done in your life, right? You have to give them a 2-week notice. 2 weeks ahead of time that you're going to leave so that they have 2 weeks to either treat you weirdly, treat you differently, maybe fire you within those 2 weeks. It's never fun. A 2-week notice is never fun. And what do? They always say, well, if you don't honor a 2-week notice, we can't give you a good reference. Come here. You don't need the reference. You don't need the reference. You really don't. Want to know why? Because the job force, the workforce, they're so desperate for workers, they'll honestly take somebody off of Craigslist if they could. So don't let people think for a second that you need a reference that badly. If you don't like your job, leave it. Leave your job in any fashion that you see fit. If you want to leave your job in the middle of your lunch break, do it. Want to know why? Because the only way that should change is if 2-week notices, right, work both ways. If your employer wants to be like, hey, you know what? We are going to give you a 2-week notice before we'll terminate you. So you have 2 weeks in order to find a new job out of respect, right? Because they want to respect they want you to treat them with respect. So you put in a 2-week notice. Why don't they treat you with respect, right? Or how about this? If you want to put in a 2-week notice, they should pay you the full 2 weeks worth of wage. They should do that, right? And then they can do whatever they want. Think about that. I would feel a whole lot less. I'm gonna sit down for this one. I might sip a little water for this. They should feel a whole lot less inclined to fire you immediately if they have to pay you 2 weeks worth of wage. No, they'll keep you for all 2 weeks. I promise you that, because a 2-week notice is a joke unless it goes both ways. Okay, if a 2-week notice goes both ways, you got it, big dog. You got it. I'll put in that 2-week notice now with a smile on my face, but it doesn't work both ways. The minute that employers have to give you notice before they fire you, that's the minute that we at that point should give notice before we quit. But until that is changed, 2-week notices have always been a joke, the biggest joke in my life, and I absolutely love when people quit in the most miraculous of ways, right? My favorite is the quiet quitter. I love the quiet quitter. The quiet quitter is the one that doesn't say a word and just disappears mid-shift. You're like, where did Cynthia go? Cynthia's long gone, buddy, and you should follow right behind her. Anyway, guys, this is the first lesson in Stallion University of how you can be a better employee, right? Now, take all these notes I gave you, go out there to that job you have, and better yourself the best way you can, and understand that you are getting mistreated and you are getting honestly misused and you are getting disrespected. And if that's the case for your job, leave it. If you like your job and they're paying you well and they're treating you with respect, good for you. I hope you do well. Let me know what that's like, because I love to work for you. Anyway, guys, this has been hands down the longest video I've done. And if you stuck around up to this point, I love you very much. If you guys can subscribe, follow, share this with your friends. I'm trying to build this account, as big as we can get it. And I'll honestly do whatever you guys would like me to do next in regards to Stallion University. But this is just another segment and many other segments that we'll have. Love you all very much. And my outro still isn't developed yet, so just imagine it's a picture of me going like this with like a song and stuff. Anyway, bye, Z's.